Welcome to Creating a World of Women of Significance on Global Voice Radio with your host, Margie O'Kane. Listen and learn how you can create a legacy for women and girls around the world. Women of significance can change the world. Here is your host, Margie O'Kane.
Hello everybody and welcome. I'm your host, Margie O'Kane. My shows are all about expanding qualities underdeveloped within you, unleashing your potential and continuously improving self. A blueprint for a life of significance, a guide to continuously retune your life, a life of no regrets. Today, I'm here to remind you that you only have now. Tomorrow is not promised. For those who do not know me, I'm in the autumn of my years. My background is in client-centered care, and I have worked as a registered nurse, midwife, and consultant for over 50 years as a manager and director of nursing. My clinical skills were in accident and emergency, operating theatres, midwifery, and palliative care. I have trained hundreds of people in leadership, communication, and clinical skills. I have travelled widely to rural and remote areas throughout Australia, supporting the local health authorities on clinical issues and leadership. I am an auditor in many various quality standards. I have had an amazing career as a nurse. I am proud that I have brought hundreds of babies into the world, saved many lives, was kind and considerate to my patients, and I was with them when they took their last breath. I have nursed some amazing people, and I have some amazing stories. People such as Omar Sharif, Alfred Hitchcock, Prince Hussein, Prince Michael, Somerset Maugham. I have even scrubbed for the Queen's surgeon, just to name a few. I'm no guru, nor do I have a remarkable story to tell of overcoming major problems or completing in any world-beating event. I am someone who has experienced life with all its variables. In 2007, the Dalai Lama visited a small hospice I managed. His speech was to all of us, however I felt it was said to me. I want you to have no regrets, put meaning in what you do, and have a peaceful mind. He also reminded us that great love and great achievements involve great risks. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. Follow the 3 R's, respect yourself, respect others, and take responsibility for all your actions. This message I have taken to heart. I have been blessed to have nursed the dying, and they have taught me how to live. To say the most important things to those you love every day. I love you. Forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. It is not death that a person should fear, but they should fear never beginning to live. We're afraid of many things in life, such as public speaking, dating, and even admitting we're lonely sometimes. In many cases, it's easier not to try rather than to be rejected and deal with the feelings underneath. Indeed, fears are tricky because they are so well layered, one on top of the other. Each can be peeled away until you get down to the bottom fear, the foundation on which all others rest, and that's usually the fear of death. Suppose you're extremely worried about a project at work. Peel away that fear, and underneath you'll find the fear of not doing well. Underneath that you'll find successive layers, fear of not getting the rise, of losing your job, and then finally fear of not surviving, which essentially is the fear of death. The fear of not surviving underlies many of our financial and job-related fears. It all boils down to the fear of death, arguably the cause of most of our unhappiness. We unknowingly harm our loved ones out of fear. We hold ourselves back personally and professionally for the same reason. Since every fear has its roots in the fear of death, learning to relax about the fear surrounding death will allow us to face everything else with greater ease. The dying are faced with that ultimate fear, the fear of death. They are facing that fear and they realize that it does not crush them. It has no more power over them. The dying have learnt that fear doesn't matter. But for the rest of us, it's very still. It's still very real. If we could literally reach into you and remove all your fears, every one of them, how different would your life be? Think about it. If nothing stopped you from following your dreams, your life would be probably very different. This is what the dying learns. Dying makes our worst fears come forward to be faced directly. It helps us see the different life that is possible, and in that vision, takes the rest of our fears away. Unfortunately, by the time the fear is gone, most of us are too sick or too old to do those things we would have done before had we not been afraid. We become old and ill without ever trying our secret passions, finding our true work, or becoming the person you'd like to be. If we did the things we're longing to do, we would still be old and ill one day, but we would not be filled with regrets. We would not be ending a life half-lived. Thus, one lesson becomes clear. We must transcend our fears while we can still those things we dream of. To transcend fear, though, we must move somewhere else emotionally. We must move into love. Happiness, anxiety, joy, resentment. We have many words for the many emotions we experience in our lifetimes. But deep down, at our core, there are only two emotions, love and fear. All positive emotion comes from love. All negative emotion comes from fear. From love flows happiness, contentment, peace, and joy. From fear comes anger, hate, anxiety, and guilt. It's true that there are only two primary emotions, love and fear, but it's more accurate to say there is only love or fear, for we cannot feel these two emotions together at exactly the same time. They are opposites. If we're in fear, we're not in a place of love. When we're in a place of love, we cannot be in a place of fear. Can you think of a time when you've been in both love and fear? It's impossible. We have to make a decision to be in one place or another. There's no neutrality in this. If you don't actively choose love, you'll find yourself in a place of either fear or one of its component feelings. Every moment offers the choice to choose one or the other. We must continually make these choices, especially in difficult circumstances when our commitment to love instead of fear is challenged. Having chosen love doesn't mean you'll never feel fear again. In fact, it means many of your fears will come up to finally be healed. This is an ongoing process. Remember that you will become fearful after you've chosen love, just as we become hungry after we eat. We must continually choose love in order to nourish our souls and drive away fear, just as we eat to nourish our bodies and drive away hunger. All of our invented fears involve either the past or the future. Only love is in the present. Now is the only real moment we have, and love is the only real emotion because it's the only one that occurs in the present moment. Fear is always based on something that happened in the past and causes us to be afraid of something we think may happen in the future. To live in the present, then, is to live in love, not fear. That's our goal, to live in love. And we can work towards that goal by learning to love ourselves. Infusing ourselves with love begins the washing away of our fears. It has been said that life is a sexually transmitted condition with a terminal prognosis. A brush with death often instills in us a newfound appreciation for the gift of life. Simple pleasures, a cup of tea, sunshine on one's face, the voices of our children, feel like miracles. When we've had a close call that shakes us up, the anger we felt toward people closest to us no longer seems significant. It will dissolve in love, appreciation, and affection, and we recognize the urgency of mending, tending, and celebrating our relationships. Because accidents and sudden illness do happen, it is never too soon to express forgiveness, to say thank you and I love you to the people who have been integral or intimate part of our lives, and say goodbye as a blessing. These simple words hold essential wisdom for transforming that which matters most in our lives, our relationships with the people we love. Pope Paul said, "Somebody should tell us right at the start of our lives that we are dying. Then we might live life to the limit, every minute of every day. Whatever you want to do, do it now. There are only so many tomorrows." What words will they chisel into your tombstone? There was a poem, The Dash by Linda Ellis. What you see on your headstone, a date of birth, a dash, a date of death. It's the dash that we're remembered by. I'm here to encourage you to write your own dash. Say what your life means to you, which may be hard for others to describe if you don't. Live the kind of life that would make an interesting dash. Remember, our legacy is not about what we acquire, it's about what we leave behind. I was talking to my father one day before he developed dementia, and I said, "Daddy, what does success mean to you?" "Oh," he said, "I've never been asked that question." He thought for a minute and replied, "Well, I was there for my loved ones." I said, "Can you explain further?" He said, "Well, I was there for them with time, money, counsel, and especially love." And he added, "I know if I died now, I would have lived a happy and fulfilled life." It is only when we truly know and understand that we have a limited time on earth and that we have no way of knowing when our time is up, we will then begin to live each day to the fullest, if it was the only one we had. Throughout your life, you'll face some sort of regret. The question, though, is, would you rather regret doing something or not doing something? Personally, I would rather regret doing something than regret not doing something. I would rather beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. We need to get rid of the negative thoughts, the could-haves, the might-haves and should-haves, and start living a life that won't make us feel regretful. What's the meaning of live each day as it was your last? This saying doesn't mean the same thing to each person. We each have dreams, and there are many different dreams as there are people. We each want to be happy, and no one can do this better than ourselves. Every day, people trade off their dreams for what they think needs to be done. They need to pay their bills, so they forego spending their money on an experience. Their boss calls up, so they forgo the day off they had planned to spend with their family and go to work instead. They choose to give up their happiness for expediency. But if it was their last day, they would do things differently. They themselves would decide what they would do. It would be the last chance they had to be happy and to have a great day, because there wouldn't be any more days, period. To me, it means live each day without denying your happiness. Don't trade your happiness for anything, because it might be the last chance you get to be happy. Life is full of surprises. You'll never know for certain what your future will look like. You'll never know where you'll end up or what you'll accomplish in the next few years. You'll never know who you'll befriend, what you will experience, how you will feel. Life is full of happiness. Strangers helping each other through tough times. Friends sharing fun and memorable moments. People working collectively all over the world to make life better, little by little. Life is full of sadness. The people you love will suffer and die. Your friends may abandon or forget you. Many things will not happen in your favour. You can lose all your money or damage your reputation. Innocent people will die for malicious causes, be exploited, tortured and starved to death. Life for humans will always be a fluctuating experience. We cannot always have it one way. We cannot be good without knowing what bad is. We cannot be generous without knowing what being selfish is. We cannot fully enjoy life without understanding your death. If we believe that we'll only be here once and we will never come back and be able to have all these different experiences, no matter how good or bad, I think we would learn to appreciate every day a little more. We live our lives like we can predict when we die. We have an estimated range of our life expectancy and expect our lives to go fine and dandy until we turn 80 and die a peaceful death. There's no way you can be certain of that life. You can be diagnosed with a terminal disease. You could be hit by a speeding car tomorrow. You could be confronted by a serial killer and shot to death. We could have a nuclear fallout. The possibilities are endless, but because it's not practical to think about how many ways we can face a pointless and absurd death, we tend not to think about it at all. We tend to allow life just to happen to us. We are standing by and allowing our most valuable resources to decay every day. Why aren't we fighting every day to live the life we want to live? Why do we keep our dream lives as dreams? Why don't we do something about it? If you were to die tomorrow, what would failure mean to you? You are scared to fail because you think about the lasting consequences. If you only had 24 hours to live, you wouldn't ever think about laying on your bed all day eating, watching mindless content on YouTube, or scrolling through Instagram all day. You realize how much time you had spent on these things you never cared about, but which made you feel good in the present, but would never amount to anything in the future. I think we'd all wish for those last 24 hours to be a little more time to live, a little more to be able to die without regrets, a little more time to reflect on our entire lives and to remember the good and bad times. We'd regret so much of our poor decisions that took away so much important time in our lives. We'd love a little more time to be able to say goodbye to the people who stayed beside us in our short time here. We'd love a little more to be able to finally say the truth, things you would never have thought of sharing about yourself without the thought of your impending death. Things you were scared to say to your family and friends. Things that were on your mind but felt you couldn't share them because you feared criticism. If tomorrow really was your last day, how would you spend it? What would you say to the people you cared about? What would you want to do for your remaining time here? Every single second of your day would be extremely valuable, and you'd be very picky on how you spent it. Maybe you'd sit down and finally work on that novel you were thinking about writing for those last few years or months or years. Maybe an autobiography of your life before you go. Maybe you'd sit down and finally paint that masterpiece you've always dreamed about. Maybe you'd finally get the courage to do what you love because you've nothing else to lose. If you approach every day like it's your last, you'll be grateful for the next day. You'll know that you are lucky to be alive and being given another chance to experience all that life has to offer. You won't take your time for granted and would only pay attention to the things that were most important to you. You have no time to waste because your life could end any minute. I read a quote that went something like, if you live each day as it were your last, someday you might be right. You will most certainly be right. Look in the mirror every morning and ask yourself, if today was the last day of my life, what would I want to do what I'm about to do today? Would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whatever the answer has been, no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations or pride or fear of embarrassment or failure, these things will just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you're going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is how it should be, because death is very, very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you'll be gradually become old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Another way of thinking about it is that today is the first day of the rest of your life. This is the day I must live to the fullest. Let me laugh. Let me spread the smile. Yes, I will live my life to the fullest. Yes, I will enjoy the life, and today is the day to do so. But while focusing on the enjoyment, we must focus on our responsibilities, goals, and dreams. Because living doesn't only mean laughing, it also means sweating. It doesn't only mean relaxation, but also hard work. If you are on the wrong path and are not achieving what you want, don't stop or criticize the path. Take the new path. If you failed an exam and just thinking about why you had not studied or should have read a bit more, that won't help. Start your studies for next semester today. Don't repeat history. If you are broke, you need to move on and focus on your life today. Memories will make you cry, but good actions today will give you more reasons to smile. Today you should be taking steps for the dream you have dreamt. Whatever your past might be, remember, today is the first day for the rest of your life. You cannot change the past, but you can always create the future. But for that, you need to start. KFC owner Ray Kroc started at age 75. He didn't think that 75% of my life is gone and only 25% is remaining, so I should not think of long-term plans or a global chain. Today is the first day. Start working on the things you need to do and wish to do. Today is the day I have started my writing again, exploring my passion again. Yes, I've wasted many years and should have worked on it much earlier, but that should not stop me from starting today. One of the big bad thoughts in the mind are, I should have started this early. Now it won't work for me. This thought makes you stop from doing many things. You should get over it, and you should start things with an awareness and one thing in mind, as today is the first day of the rest of your life. What can happen is you start working today. You start making wise decisions today. You start working hard today. Start focusing today. Show your dedication today and the rest of your life. Remember again, today is the first day of the rest of your life. If you don't take an action today, tomorrow again, you will be at the same place thinking the same thing. But if you act today, you will have a different story to tell. Hard work, patience, dedication, attitude, approach, many things to work on, time with loved ones, making friends. Everything you wish to do, be aware, start now. You haven't done things in the past should never stop you from doing things now. Today should not become the same as yesterday, as tomorrow. This is your first day of the rest of your life. It's in your hands how to start the rest of your life, with the same morning or with a new hope, new energy, new enthusiasm. Have the courage to change things that should have been changed and accept that what you cannot be changed. Stay honest to yourself and become the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. Treat people with respect and compassion and live in the now. Have a clear vision and focus on what you want with a time frame. Challenge yourself to do the best you can be always. Visualize what you want to accomplish. See the outcome, feel the outcome, and taste the outcome. Never doubt yourself. Surround yourself with loving, supportive people. Cherish these special people. Stay away from those who want to tear you down. Balance how you want to use your time and resources. Focus on the things you want and on those things that make a real difference to your life. Take focus and consistent, committed action. I close with some lines of that immortal song from Frank Sinatra. And now the end is near, and so I face that final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway, but more than this, I did it my way. Thank you for listening. This is Margie. I can be contacted at margieokane.com. I do want to encourage you that today is all you have. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. Join Margie O'Kane, host of Creating a World of Women of Significance, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio, where your voice is heard.